Welcome back to the Stuff or Whatever podcast. Your host, BQuanchi here. Before we get started, I always like to say the best way to support me and the channel is to like, comment, and subscribe. You can do it on YouTube, on Twitch, where I do live streams of gaming, as well as those VODs uploaded back here, and on X, or really Twitter, for fun updates and other fun posts, not tweets anymore. Still never gonna get used to that. But yeah, I got a very special podcast this week. Slight update on the channel for August, just because I had some backlog of Let's Play recordings, my BQuanchi gameplay, as I call it. I'm gonna go back to like once a week. I don't know. I'm tending if I had more feedback or more demand or just anything, I might do it more often. So I'm not sure if it's like as worth it, but sometimes I just like want to record stuff. A lot of times, it's like indie game demos or games I want to play. It's just some playthroughs I want to record with commentary and stuff like that just to have up there, but a little less frequent uploads because I always get worried if it gets too excessive and off-putting versus there's not much, but there's always like the at least two stream VODs and all that. And having fun with Twitch. The main one. I don't think I will do anything else. Although, in terms of platforms for streaming, although I get tempted to do YouTube just because this has a little bit more of an audience, at least number wise, but who knows? I just kind of want to have like Twitch build up just to have like more eggs in more baskets, but all that. It's funny because I have over 200 streams and still not a Twitch affiliate, but it helps me grab footage as well because as much as I'm lazy and procrastinate and feels like maybe I'm not good at making stuff, I do want to do like some more commentary videos with games and video games. We'll see. Maybe I just need to sit down and like really type stuff out or have less distractions because I don't know, I don't want to really label myself as a creator or anything like that just because it feels like I'm not putting out much. But sometimes I'll just have like so many distractions, or even like put YouTube up on the TV or whatever on Netflix, and maybe I just need to go out to like a coffee shop or something like that and just type and work that stuff out because there's some stuff, maybe some more game reviews or whatever. But I have some stuff I'm excited about for Twitch because I still gotta finish up Hollow Knight and Blasphemous, which I'm gonna take a little small break from. But I'm doing Chrono Trigger as well that I'm kind of more excited about just because it's one of my favorite games and all that. But yeah, just let me know for anyone who's listening if you'd like to see more gameplay stuff on the channel. I'm going to once a week, but have some kind of fun stuff in the pipeline that, you know, if I'm going to be playing games, might as well broadcast it or record it and all that. But yeah, and then also want to come. This is more of a complaint for this podcast, but like any other red-blooded American, I do a lot of my shopping on Amazon. I do have a little share of complaints. Although I feel like Amazon does like time and time for me is that they'll like throw me a free 30-day trial for Amazon Prime, and then I'll quit. Like I never paid for Prime before. It sounds like a 30-day trial, so I did like watch. I just caught up with the boys and all that, so this is kind of fun to catch up on content. But I think that's somewhat of a lie. I think there was a small period where I paid for just the Amazon Prime Video, which is a slightly cheaper. Although with Prime you get free shipping, so I was doing that. And one of my complaint is like it's sometimes how like Amazon delivers because I live in an apartment complex, and it feels like they like barely like knock on the door. I do have my dogs and sometimes they bark and all that. But a lot of times they'll just bark at like someone who's walking the dog or someone's walking by. So sometimes I'm not sure. Although Amazon always do a good job at taking pictures and all that. I think like a lot of delivery that's like the common thing now, like for food delivery or packages that they take a picture. But Amazon's pretty big on that too. Last package I got from Amazon is they delivered it to my neighbor, and it's just annoying because as soon as I like pulled up, because I don't, for me, I'm not sure if it's just my phone, but I feel like my notification doesn't notify me right away when it comes to in Amazon notifications. So sometimes I have to open up the Amazon app and then it pops up, or check my email and it's oh, there's a picture delivery, and I like that's not my apartment. I'm not sure if they changed it or give feedback to drivers because I feel like in the past it's always like a close up on the package, but they didn't get in the habit of getting the apartment number that's on the door. I guess it depends on the apartment complex too, but I saw the picture, and so clearly that's not my apartment number. Oh, there was like 10 numbers up, so it's two out of the three numbers were right. So great. So I had to like walk around to my neighbor and get my package. It's one of those things, like, of course, it's one of the things I don't want other people knowing I'm ordering. Not to get too like personal with it. Like, great. And I walk over and it's like they have kids, and like the kids answer the door and I have to explain myself 3 times. Like, oh, Amazon misdelivered. Like they brought my package here, and then I don't talk too much to my neighbors. I don't know them too well. I'm just kind of like to myself kind of guy. Especially when they kind of like right around the corner and stuff like that from the complex. It's kind of like an effort to get there, although not too bad. And then this is my big complaint too is that like my neighbor opened the package, like what the fuck kind of thing. I guess like maybe they order so much that they just didn't have like, oh, this is for me. Like I'll just open it and stuff like that. But my name is on it. My apartment number's on it. Like, also on Amazon, the delivery driver who misdelivered it. But also, like, who, like, if I get a package I'm not expecting, or even if I am expecting package, I like look at it. That's all just like extremely annoyed that they just like automatically open my package, and I'm not sure if they even paid too much attention to what was ordered. So that's like one of my uh, annoyances. Like, not only do I have to go out of my way to knock on my neighbor's door um, to get what I bought, but they also open it too. You always hear shit too, like people like stealing packages off people porches and stuff like that. I even had like one time like delivered it to a neighbor above me, and they went home. So I just happened to recognize the picture that it didn't have the apartment number, but it had like the ground is like, oh, that looks like the balcony from the walkway from a second story apartment. So I had to like snag my own package off their welcome mat, the front door, make it feel like I'm stealing, although it's something I bought. And there's even one time like delivered something and I noticed like this is not something I ordered. Because I was actually expecting an appliance like a blender. And like, oh, and then I guess they just swapped the packages, like delivered my neighbors to me and me to my neighbors. So I think they were kind of cool about it. Like, oh yeah, because a lot of times they just bring stuff in and all that. But I'm like, I guess when you're like paying for stuff, you can get a little sensitive about it. But it's like, hey, you have what? Well, not to be like too much of a jerk or anything like that, or someone who's entitled, but like, that's your main job is to make sure you deliver to where you need to deliver. And I don't know, maybe it's just my area, but I feel like a lot of times it happens with Amazon and all that. But thank God they like take pictures and stuff like that now. That it helps, but I don't know, it is what it is. We're gonna keep on buying from Amazon or whatever websites and stuff like that, just for convenience, just because we're red-blooded Americans. But just my little complaints about that. And next is kind of like a small thing I wanted to talk about. I'm not sure if this will be helpful to anyone, but I had some issues with my phones in the past. I have Android phones, but basically just like getting the charging plug in, like it doesn't like plug in all the way, or like it doesn't stay in, or like pops out. And like let me just kind of Google this or look on YouTube and stuff like that. And I guess like uh, dust and dirt were building up. Not too much, but like, oh, and I don't want to give like specific advices because I'm not an expert. From the video I saw, like they said, oh, you can use like a toothpick to kind of clean around it, but be very careful with it. I did that and realized, oh, there's a lot of gunk and all that. Like, oh, that actually made a difference. And, with phones and where have wear and tear over time and all that. Then also like Google online, like, oh, you can actually buy these little plugs. Because my phone has a USB-C like little plugs too, and a lot of devices have that too. But you can buy like these like ports, and you can actually buy plugs for them. You get a little silicone plug that you like plug in it to prevent like dirt or dust or whatever. Because I think a lot of it's been like pocket lint for me, especially if I'm wearing denim or anything like that. It's like, oh, let me just use that, and that might be more helpful. Because there's been times in the past like I had it's so bad that I figure like, oh, my phone's fucked, so I just have to uh, upgrade or trade in or get a new phone. Um, and the phone was getting kind of older anyways in the past, so it's not like uh, unnecessarily buying a new phone, but I think, oh, that could have probably added a little extra months, if not a year, just depending on it. But it's like, oh, I can't even charge my phone because the plug's not plugging in, but it's because of like dirt and we like linen, all that. So that's like my random tech advice from an amateur. is like, hey, it could be this dirty. You can use like a toothpick, or something even better. Um, to clean it out, and then these silicone plugs, like I bought off Amazon, and it comes like the cheapest I found was like a pack of 20 because I'm sure you can like easily lose them. So like, oh, I might just get in the habit of doing that just to, especially with phones. It's because a lot of times my phone is in my pocket. I think that's where it gets built up in that little charging port, the USB-C port. Like, oh, I just have that, so I just keep that in my phone when it's not charging and stuff like that. It's a big difference. I felt like I'm not was able to clean it enough to make it like perfect, like brand new, but at least it can charge because there's been times where I like try to charge it and I wake up in the morning and it's not even charged. It's like at 10%. And sometimes my dog would like walk by and knock it out. And all that. But this like some random advice is that you can use the little plugs to prevent your electronic device from building up dust or dirt or whatever. So next thing I want to talk about some more is Twitter or X, whatever you call it. I always going to call it Twitter. I think a lot of people are, but this is not too old news. But I haven't heard too much about it since. But there was like buzz about them getting rid of blocks, so you can't block anyone on Twitter. And I haven't heard much. I'm not sure if they're like backpedaling that or what's going on because a lot of people had like their concerns, of course. Like they said, like, hey, a lot of that has to do with like safety and harassment and bullying and doxing and stuff like that. So a lot of reason to have blocks. But there's always a mute function as well. But it's fun, like Elon Musk, like I just don't get it. And then like you can look at history, like he blocked people. Like there was that stint, I think it was less than a year ago. Like people were doxing his private jet, and like I think it was like some teenager like saying like asking for money, and he'll stop doxing him, and Elon Musk just blocked him. So like if you don't get it, why are you using it? I get also like how the mute can be a decent alternative to blocking. And then they also like I saw some posts. I'm not sure the exact details of it, but it seemed like with app stores, whether it be like Google Play or the Apple App Store, that these social media apps are required to have the option to block a user. It can't be in the app store, so I think that might be a big thing. I'm not sure because they also made it seem like they're gonna like up the mute function to be much better, but then I haven't heard much for like has it been 2 weeks now? It's been a while since I haven't recorded an actual podcast in a while. But it just feels like crickets. Like maybe it's just to get engagement and people like talking about it. But you can still block on Twitter and all that. There's also like some speculation too. So another thing that I heard about blocking is that it causes a lot of data that needs like servers to be stored or whatever. So like people who block user, that information is stored somewhere to keep the block list and all that. Because like, oh, that's the way he can save money. So if he gets rid of blocking, then they don't have to dedicate this amount of data to servers or whatever. And I'm just kind of your average Joe, so I don't know too much about technology and this and that. Although I'd like to think somewhat I am, but I'm still an idiot, so who cares? But yeah, I'm not sure if that's quite the case because I'm also seeing like Elon Musk really like boast, trying to boost, I was gonna say X videos like their porn site, but videos on X, especially since the quote unquote verified or premium members can post longer videos, especially with like the what is it, Tucker Carlson, whatever, does his like ever since he got fired from Fox, he's been doing like interviews or like episodes or whatever. I don't care. But the thing is, like, if Elon Musk is promoting like users to um, make videos, upload videos, especially longer form videos, I think they even tried to simping or whatever for Mr. Beast to post content on X. But that takes a lot more data, like for videos, than it is for like block list and information. So I'm not, I don't quite buy it that if they were trying to get blocks, it's the way to um, save money. If they also wanted to um, use, the platform for longer form videos or more content and all that, or more content creation and all that. But I know what it is, but it just feels very stupid. Like I always like the posts I have it saved to my phone. Like I think um, the value of Twitter or X dropped to like one third. Like I think he paid like 44 billion. It's like to 12 billion or whatever. And you can like look it up as well. But I it's like when I think it's how much the value of Twitter or at least the platform has dropped since Elon took over. Next thing I wanted to talk about on this podcast is also more kind of Twitter related or X related. You're never gonna get used to that. Is something called like engagement farming because I noticed this a lot. I think it's also been kind of recent, at least more so of Elon Musk or X or whatever. Really pushing like, hey, you can make money off Twitter. Like, of course, you had to pay for premium and be verified is first thing, and you have to have so many engagements. But then, like, I mean, I think just more people call it engagement farming. But basically, I've been seeing like more posts that kind of like goads people into posting or responding to it or retweeting it, or I think more so just replying to it. Because I follow some gimmick accounts, or sometimes I just think the algorithm feeds them to me just because I see the post so often and kind of sometimes I interact with it, sometimes I don't. But some of them are like out of context humans or Internet Hall of Fame, and I think there's everything out of context and all that. There's like a lot of trends, like they have like a country's flag and it'd be like, without Googling, post something that this country invented. Or they would have like, oh, what's a popular opinion that how do you like this? Or you have like four things. It's like one of these four things must go. Or hey, this is a meme checkpoint, or this is a pet checkpoint. Post a picture of a meme or a pet. Or like the 10th uh, picture posted on your save on your phone, kill this guy, or that's what they're reacting to, and all that. So a lot of it's just to get people to respond, like post a meme or pick to it, and all that. So it feels like it's getting like so repetitive, even bland, and all that. And I'm not sure if that's gonna go away, but I just feel like the influx, I think maybe more on X because of that. Hey, we can make money. Like, oh, there's also that funny one where, not really funny, just annoying. People are like, oh, they brought super like back. So like if you press it twice, if you hold like button. Um, although one thing I love is the community notes and say like, no, that's just a thing that people try to uh, boost engagement, like saying, "Oh, you can have super like," or if you like double tap it, you'll get stars over the hearts and stuff like that, or a black heart or stuff like that. But nope, super likes don't exist and all that. But people just like do that so that people like to tweet or engage with it and all that. And it feels just kind of lame and cheesy. That it's like more uh, uh trying to just like boost numbers to make more money. I'm not sure how much money you can make with engagement because some uh gimmick accounts I see like get a lot of like tractions in terms of like because you go see like how many views, how many reposts and likes and all that. But I feel like this engagement farming has been more of an annoyance, like kind of rolls my eyes kind of thing. Well, that's always been like the internet as well, with it more like the clickbait nature, like hey, we want you to click on this YouTube video, or we want you to click on this link for this Facebook article or whatever. So it's nothing too new, but it is feels more of an annoyance than anything else. I mean, like things might be exaggerated or not true. Like, oh, this video someone got run over, but then no one gets run over in the video. But it goes to you to actually sit down and watch it, and yeah, it feels like it's not going away. This another thing with the internet. And then one thing with it is that because it's engagement farming, a lot of people are going to engage with it, and then people know a lot of people are going to engage with it, so they may reply with like a joke or they'll meme or they'll pick. So even though they don't care too much about the account and know that's engagement farming, they feel like they have to interact because then they might get noticed, they might get attention, they might get repost or likes or even follows and stuff like that. So it's like it's it's cycle that feeds each other. Like the account posts engagement farming and people engage with it hoping to farm likes on their posts, and it's like I know a circle that it's the internet, so it's like not the biggest deal, but sometimes it just feels annoying when it's like bloated with so many posts in your timeline of like obviously engagement farming kind of post, but it is what it is. And next thing I wanted to talk about is online, more so like with online content creators. And again, this isn't like new groundbreaking news, but that infamous stream of I Show Speed, which is playing. I believe it's the Five Nights at Freddy's, the Security Breach DLC rune, where he accidentally exposed himself. So, and that's kind of like funny, but it's kind of unfortunate too. Like, I don't know. I have kind of like mixed feelings about it because I saw. It's funny. I was trying to like see like what was the response from YouTube or any consequences and stuff like that. Although that was kind of like the day of like after events and like everything was just reposting the clips. I think he was even trying to get the clips taken down for copyright. Although it was like it was spread like wildfire. But basically, he was just kind of like air humping at the camera. Chica appeared, and whoop, it his dick came out. So he showed meat is a thing. And part of me is like, yo, like you gotta know, like to be careful. Like it's like asking for trouble. If you can like draw attention to your crotch and hump the air in front of you, hey, maybe wear underwear or like not have like loose. I'm not sure if it was like loose boxers or lounge pants or something like that. But yeah, it popped out, and people even joking that he was like pretty well chubbed. So at least if you show it, it's something to brag about in terms of size. But it's like you should know better and all that. And I think he definitely took his lumps with all the posts, I show meat, I show meat. But I even saw like a clip a few days after, like, well, he was streaming and playing Roblox, so maybe that's the problem is playing Roblox. And then like all everyone like around him voice chatting, like I show meat, I show meat. And I think he was playing Fortnite before and had this issue, so hopefully that doesn't become an ongoing thing. Like think people just move on. Like it was an honest mistake and all that. Although like you kind of asking for it in a sense that not to like victim blame or anything like that, but hey, like you don't need to like kick a crotch air hump right in front of the camera. Like things could happen. I even watch a creator I really like, Papa Meat or Meat Canyon if you his main channel and all that. But he did like on his side channel talking about people who expose themselves online like accidentally. And somebody like think like, what are you thinking and stuff like that. Like like if you like just stream on Twitch and you think your camera's off and you like take care of yourself or whatever. So it's kind of like almost like what the fuck are you even thinking? Like have some common sense kind of thing. I think one thing that kind of rubs me slightly the wrong way is that there's no consequences and it was an honest mistake, but I feel like it wasn't even a slap on the wrist from YouTube. But you feel like if that happened to any other smaller creator, they would probably get the channel deleted or banned or permaban or whatever you call it. But just because I Show Speed is popular, I think he has like over 20 million subscribers now. So obviously he's doing something right. But it feels like with other content creators, like when they mess up, it's like a slap on the wrist. Like even makes me think back to like Pokemon when she was streaming the Avatar series, the cartoon series, and I think it was like copyright stuff with Twitch and stuff like that that got taken down. And like if you look at any other creators like who are smaller, not popular, not pretty, not attractive, like if they make a minor offense and it's like your account's deleted, like too bad, so sad. Versus people who bring in the numbers, get a lot of leniency. And like looking at it from both sides, like people make honest mistakes, things happen and all that, but it's just one of those kind of annoyances. Like the bigger you are on the internet, the more you can get away with, and I think that's why people want to be popular online, so they can do this or that, whether like trolling or pranking or being provocative or shocking, whether what they say or what they do and all that. Yeah, so just like with those online content creators and their controversies, all that. It also kind of makes me think. I haven't talked about this. I know it's kind of old news, but I do like watching Let's Play channels and kind of sad to hear what happened with Super Mega. Although it's still like kind of unclear what's going to happen from now, but you can do like your research and look up on it. But yeah, it's like they almost got canceled. Maybe they are going to get canceled, even though they didn't do anything really too offensive. Uh, I just like to give the cliff notes is that they had someone who made a long video talking about being sexually assaulted from someone who was their channel artist, and even though Super Mega didn't do anything like actually bad, but I guess they handle it really, really poorly. Um, and then I feel like there's a lot of drama. There's like unnecessary things brought up, uh, especially with like when the other employees late in and all that. So it's one thing I don't know too much about, but I can give my 2 cents here and there. But uh, it's just like I feel like just because this day and age, especially with the internet, especially with being able to make content and profiting to the point that you can have a job on the internet, whether you're making YouTube videos or streaming online or playing games or this or that. I think a lot of people like jump into that and to the point that they get bigger, and it's like they kind of have to manage themselves like their own company and all that. I think sometimes they just don't have quite the experience, in a sense, like you learn from working like I don't want to say like a normal job or a real job, but there's a lot of things with like your typical 9 to 5, like especially with the higher on training and stuff like that, especially with like the human resources stuff. Like I feel like every company I work for, like even has like basically like, hey, if your manager or bosses make advances towards you, like sexually, like the abuse of power, that's just quid quo quo. I'm messing that up language and all that, but like, hey, if you have sex with me, then I'll promote you or stuff like that. Like, uh, pressuring favors for gain and all that, like abusive powers. Not to say that's always the case. Like, you hear stuff with like content creators, like chatting with fans to the point that even sexting and all that, and it feels like you shouldn't have to be like a saint or on your best behavior or a perfect role model, but it gets to the point that you are, because if you mess up or whether there's consent or not, or fidelity or cheating or not, it's just always going to be judged one way or the other. So it's almost like keep it very, very private or just don't do it. With other kind of creators that had their own things, good or bad, guilty or not as bad. But it is feel like if you jump, it's like working a typical job kind of gives you somewhat of a growth in terms of professionalism and all that. And I'm just some internet idiot on the internet, so I may not know too much what I'm talking about. But it's always like dumbfounded sometimes when I see like on creator like do this, and you think that's acceptable in terms of like how to act online, like with like swatting and uh, prank calls to like 911 or this is that. Like I can't think of any like specific examples off the top of my head, but sometimes you like hear stories of this and that, and like, what the fuck were you thinking? Like, of course it went down like that. Or you see the lame apology videos and stuff like that. Even like the old, I was gonna say like old school, but it's not that too long ago. Like with Logan Paul showing a dead body on the YouTube video and all that in Japan. Um, just like how some people like don't think twice about certain behaviors. And not to say like more people are more sensitive nowadays, but sometimes you just like, you gotta like really like avoid looking bad, even if it's like walking on eggshells, because you just, I think it's just being thrust in a situation where like you have so much of an audience that you weren't expecting, um, and that you good or bad, like audience is always gonna like refirm everything you do, like having a bunch of yes men too. So sometimes you can get that in that like. Uh, I can't think of where you kind of like in your own head or like you kind of like in this bubble, like, oh, you can't do no wrong because everyone's like confirming that you're doing good, even though if you do something obviously bad, like no one's going to call you out on it. So you get, whether it be your friends, your quote unquote employees, or your audience, like they'll mindlessly like always support you no matter what you do, and then they'll. And I feel like it's always kind of lame to dismiss them like as haters, like someone who like criticize you, because obviously they're going to be some dumb haters who just like do just to knock on somebody, hoping that they get attention for hating and all that. But it's kind of, but I think it's just like when you get thrust in that situation, like, hey, you're doing this high school, and all of a sudden, like, oh, this is really popping out. I need to go to college. I don't need to work a real job. And that sounds a little almost harsh, saying like, "Hey, that's not a real job." When you make stuff online, even though obviously it is. It also depends on the scale. Like sometimes people just it gets bigger, whether it becomes like a podcast or uh, let's plays or all that. But then you hear like controversy, yeah, the controversy of like, oh, there was abuse, there was this and that, and it tends a lot to he said, she said, whatever, and then it gets to the point that it gets thrust into the public court of opinion kind of thing. So whoever can be quick to drop their drama videos, who can quick to make the points, and then it's almost like a game of tennis. Like look at them, what he says, then look what they say, and all that. Because even going back to like Super Mega, I know like some stuff was kind of debunked. It was like getting a guy Leighton who did a stream as well, and a lot of stuff I would say maybe words more untrue or lying and stuff like that. But there was like a thing like they made like I guess you could say homophobic jokes and like, oh, you cool with them, and then they have examples of him saying like, okay, yeah, he's cool with them. But also at the same time, if you have to constantly check in with your employees, check in with them if these jokes are okay, then maybe you shouldn't be making those kind of jokes. Like I feel like the lack of professionalism, like even though they're your quote unquote friends, almost gonna have like that jackass like TV show like mentality, like you can just fuck with each other, make these kind of crude jokes, even be like naked or all that. And then in the real world, again, I feel um, bad saying that like in the real world, like if you do any of that, like that's sexual harassment, like people get fired on the spot or put on leave or stuff like that. Like I feel like there's a huge disconnect about like not understanding the consequences or reacting because you got to get people to say yes, I'm okay with that because they don't want to be like a buzzkill. I think it's very complicated. Like, here's the point: like, if you're gonna be working with friends and treating your platform or channel as more so as company, like, treat them as employees, treat them as business partners first, and keep all like the casual friend stuff like afterwards. And like, if you're working at like a normal job, again, keep on saying normal, but for lack of a better word, but if like if that's not okay to say to an employee or anything like that, let's say you're due, then don't do it. Like just because you're friends, that doesn't quite make a valid excuse. But I don't know. I guess being kind of be more of an older or geriatric millennial, kind of having that experience, like uh, working regular jobs and all that, and it feels like it should be common sense, but I just feel like in this day and age, people get thrust into like online, and if they can make money off TikTok or YouTube or Twitch or Kick or whatever, it just kind of bypass that. Like, I would say the growth of professionalism that you typically get back in the day. I feel old now, although I just said geriatric millennial, so yeah. But I think this is a good stopping point for the podcast. I might do another one next week. With these, it's kind of like come and go because sometimes I won't have much to talk about. Sometimes I do. And sometimes it's like good practice to just talk in a microphone. Although when I do my streams, my Let's Plays, and stuff like that, that helps too. Which, check this out. I said before, but I always like to keep things organized on a channel. So there's playlist, um, there's regular uploads. I would like to have more attention on Twitch. Like the last few times I get some chatting and it's like, oh, they making small talk because they want to do commissions for like channel art and all that. It's like, no, I'm not even affiliate, so I don't even have icons or anything, emoticons or whatever, emotes. So it's like maybe if I was affiliate, I may be more inclined to do so, but it just kind of feels almost phony in a sense. But I just kind of appreciate it. But get back to like what I said in the beginning. Like if we're gonna be playing games, might as well broadcast it, and it's almost kind of fun, even if you're talking to a non-audience. Just to kind of reflect on the game, what's going on, and just having fun with it. But yeah, that's it for this week. So thanks so much for listening, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.